before we get deeper into like expectations or anything like that down the line, there's one concern and one of the challenges that you and I have talked about in the past. I have been very vocal about it, and you're nodding your head, so I think you know where I'm headed with this. Is Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals quarterback? Is this his last chance for a future with the Arizona Cardinals? What needs to change here with Kyler Murray? We one of the things that we have lacked seen from him is that consistency. The cards seem to be set in keeping him despite the challenges and amidst the lucrative contract extension that he also received as a former number one, overall pick in the draft. Several years ago and signed a 5-year deal of 230 plus $1 million. So talk to me, Ed. What, Kyler Murray situation what can we make out of that?
Joe, it is amazing how we haven't, and you and I, just for your audience, so they know, you and I, we haven't talked in quite a bit because, life happens and stuff like that.
Right.
And, you reached out, we got back in touch earlier this week. You were this week, you're like, hey, can you jump on with me? I was like, yeah, we didn't do like a whole prep or send run sheets and all that kind of stuff. This is raw. And the fact that we like, if anybody's watching, we are here. We are right here.
Yeah.
Because you started on the subject and I was like, I know where she's going. And that's exactly where, I mean, it's like we share one heart, I guess, because as I was
that happens
talking
when you know each other
earlier,
for over a dozen years, right?
yeah. And it's it's like when you were talking about when I said earlier about the issue, the one thing that I would like to talk about, that's exactly, and you knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yep.
For me, Kyler Murray is the biggest issue that the Cardinals either have to come to grips with, that he is not their franchise quarterback, or we're going to make this work somehow, some way. And I always, Jay laughs with me all the time, because I always, in the middle of our show, when we're talking about Kyler, I always like to stop and remind him, hey, Jay, we have a short quarterback. And there's flaws to being a short quarterback. So there's certain things that Kyler cannot do that Josh Allen, that Mahomes, that Burrow, certain quarterbacks can. Kyler has an issue with seeing over the middle of the field because he is short. You're 5, they stretch him out a little bit. I'm not even going to say what he is. He's 5 something. He's got dudes that are 6'5" and above as offensive linemen. He's constantly in the shotgun because he doesn't like to be in the under center, because if you're under center, you have to turn and face away, then come back and look. He likes shotgun because he can keep his eyes down the field. Problem is the trees are still there in front of you. So he always has an issue with not being able to see the entirety of the field. He makes up for it by scrambling every now and then or throwing a lot of balls east and west and not north and south. Okay. Well, we're at a point now where you've got an amazing weapon on the outside in Marvin Harrison Jr., who can get down the field. You can't constantly be just throwing him the ball down the sidelines. You have to utilize him and Trey McBride over the middle. And Trey got his fair share, this year as a tight end. But, no touchdowns till the very end. But a lot of that is because you got to be able to see over the middle of the field. That's where, especially when you're jammed down in the red zone, everything is happening over the middle of the field. You're not throwing down the sidelines. So the issue with Kyler is he's going to have to start overcoming, in my opinion, some of his uncomfortableness with, one, getting under center so he can utilize play action more. The other is it's almost like he stopped running a little bit. And I don't know whether he is a little fearful of it because of what's out there, or he told himself he's going to try to be more pocket guy. Problem is, you can't be pocket guy when you're 5 and some chains and you can't see through everything. So with that being said, this is an extremely important year for him. Gannon and Ossenfort and all those who make the decisions, I'm sure they're looking at him and they're talking to him and they're telling them what they want to see and what he needs to improve on and how we're going to take this new approach, and this is what we're going to. And it's now going to be up to Kyler to go to that next level. You see these quarterbacks that are getting these big deals, Joe. Most of them are
Yep.
making the playoffs every year, and they're putting up astronomical numbers. You look at Kyler's numbers, and with his abilities, he either have the numbers like Lamar Jackson, but with either running and throwing, or if you're going to be supposedly throwing the ball all over the place, we need to see more of Mahomes and Josh Allen. We're not seeing that. So this is crucial. This year is crucial for him. He's going to, because here's the other thing to remember, Joe. He is not a draft pick of Austin Fort or Gannon. And people don't
Right.
that I when I during my I played my years in the NFL. I also played a bunch of years as a freshly drafted out of high school hot prospect with the Chicago White Sox. I played 9 years of professional baseball. There's an old saying when guys used to reach a certain, it's like once a prospect, now a suspect. When I got traded from the White Sox to the Brewers, and all of a sudden I was still same talent, same everything, but I wasn't a product of the Brewers. The Brewers had their own draft picks that they wanted to see succeed, and because those were priority to them. Same thing
Right.
goes for Kyler Murray. At this point, Austin Fort didn't invest in you. Gannon didn't invest in you. They would love for you to shine and be their franchise quarterback. But if you're not going to get out there and not just show us what you can do physically, but mentally be the face of this organization, lead us. Whenever there's an issue, you should be front and forward. And when you think of the Kansas City Chiefs, first thing comes to your mind, Mahomes.
Right.
Anything going wrong in that locker room, club, what first thing you think, you can envision him team meeting or whatever, walking through the locker room, talking to every guy. Tom Brady, same thing. Josh Allen, doggone well, when something is going down, Josh Allen. Kyler Murray, you can imagine, you think of him, you're thinking something's going haywire in here. He's sitting over in the corner locker with his headphones on, head down, just, and it's like, if you want to accept all that money as the franchise quarterback, you doggone well better take on all the other responsibilities. And I'm not quite sure he's there. So this is a huge year for him. In my opinion, Joe, this year is put up or shut up, because you're going to get to a point where they will start shopping him around, and rightfully so. If, say we walk in here with all the tools and everything we got, and we pull out another 8-9 or 9-8 and miss the playoffs, they're going to start looking to figure out, hey, what do we have to do to improve our draft stock to maybe step up and get another quarterback in there, or at the very least get somebody to compete with him, because he's very comfortable right now. He might be a guy you have to make uncomfortable to get the best out of him. We don't know that yet. We'll see. But yeah, right, you're spot on. In my opinion, I'm thinking we sharing it. He is the biggest issue in terms of what the biggest question. I won't say issue. He's the biggest question of all, and that should not be your situation. Not when you pay that much money to a quarterback. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of
Ton of
pennies,
money.
a lot of dollars. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I thought I would mention it, because come on, 5 years, 200 over $230 million.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, you
To
have
sit at
to,
home and
pr-
to
you
sit at
know,
home and play
produce.
video games. Yeah.